box, oops, my bad, that there is a drop box for Twitter. My intent was to have you put your Twitter handle on a Word doc and then submit it into that drop box. Don't worry, you're not behind. Just go ahead and do that now. It'll just let me keep a running account. Some of you used your names, some of you used nicknames, those kinds of things. This will just give me a reference point to go back and look at for Twitter so that I can figure out who's who and that I don't lose track of who you are. Not a big deal. Just put your Twitter handle on a Word doc, submit it into that Dropbox, and life will be good. So this week you're going to be dealing with a couple of different things. The first one you're going to be dealing with is a web app called Symbaloo. And when you get on the web and you start looking at Symbaloo, you're going to notice that it looks an awful lot like iPad icons. And I think its original intent was to make HPs and non-Mac products look much more similar to what an awful lot of the iPhones were doing. What we found in the classroom, and I'm going to go ahead and when you first log on, this is exactly what you're going to be seeing, and you'll see a blank screen like this, which they give you all these stock kind of things. You're going to go ahead and create a free account, and when you do that, you can use any account you want to. You're welcome to use your Jack's South Dakota State account. I'm going to give you a bit of advice in that if you want this to be able to be used later on when you're actually a teacher in the field, I wouldn't use your Jack's account. I would use your personal account. That way it can never go away and you never lose track of it. But I'm going to go ahead and sign in, and I of course use my Google account. And this is what you're going to see once you get there. You're going to have a home button here. This is my home Symbaloo page. It's got quick links that I use in the classroom. It will give you hints on some of these. It will give you defaults, those kinds of things. So the thing with Symbaloo, and really truly you just need to play with it, is you can create, you'll see here there's a tile, and you can create a tile doing just about any particular web address that you want to. So if we were going to do a tile for the Brookings Register, it's the paper here in town, right? So I'd put the address in there. It's a website, but you do have some tags that you can use off to the right. It'll come up with a picture. If it's got an icon already in there, it'll give you a name for it. And then down below you can just simply save it. There's some other options in there that you can go to, but then every single time you click on that, it's going to take you to that particular website. So the concept itself is pretty simple, but the application in a classroom is huge, and I want to show you this. So I'm teaching senior English 4. It was a British history course and it was a journalism course. So what I did was I created a Symbaloo web mix that allowed me to put sites that I wanted the kids to have access to without my having to give them emails, to send them links, and those kinds of things. It simplified that process. I can add to this at any particular time. It will update on that student Symbaloo immediately. What I found in my 8th grade class, they were doing a history project about the Trail of Tears, and what the students did was they were working in small groups. They had to collect research, they had to collect data, those kinds of things, and in order for them to share the information out to the other members of their group, and everybody has access to the data, they created a Symbaloo. They created a web mix for that particular project. Now this one right here is just a Symbaloo that I actually stole from the web. You can find web mixes that already exist. That is nothing but research-based links. Now Delicious was one of the really popular link keepers way back when the internet first started to get really popular. This right here gives it to you in a very visual way. So for everybody K through 12, you can see as well as read. So the kids, let's take a first grader, can learn to not only read the title for the Symbaloo webmix, but also be able to identify the icon. That makes things awful simple for them to do. You can make them as big as you want to or as small as you want to. Now, if I go to my home page here, you're going to see this one right here is in blue or is in purple. You can create those little bundles, and that's going to be part of your assignment to actually go in and figure out how to do that. You can search for pre-made web mixes. There are galleries that are out there, and you can, on every single web mix, you can share out to the world. Now, here's the deal. Remember, one of the goals for this course is to figure out the best way and the most efficient way to use technology in the classroom efficiently. Now, here's my key with Symbaloo. Symbaloo is not only visual, so it's going to be K through 12. It'll be great for those ELS kids. It's great for the special education kids because you can just put pictures. You know this is a science link that goes right there. That one goes right to the D-Step Science test. It is a great way to quickly share information out to a great deal of people. Now, you guys are going to create a couple of different web mixes, but please feel free to create as many as you want to. What you're going to then do is you're going to share your web mixes to me, and we're going to have you do that by putting it into a Dropbox. You're going to have a Symbaloo 1 right there. And what I want you to do is I want you to put your Symbaloo, oops, my bad. My computer doesn't want to work for me right this very second. How's that work? Oh, there we go. So what you're going to do is you are going to give me those share options. And I want you to give me this link on a Word doc and submit that into the Dropbox 1, Symbaloo 1. Okay? Now you're going to notice this isn't due until January 27th. Part of the reason for that is Symbaloo takes a little bit of time just to play with. And any new technology you get, the biggest and the best and the most efficient way to learn how to use that technology is to play with it. Have some fun with it. Try some things. It's a web-based app, so you're not going to screw it up. You're not going to mess up your software. You're not going to have to buy new software or anything like that. It's all online, and things can be deleted and things can be rearranged and moved, and it's an ideal format to just play with. Okay. The other thing that I want you to do this week is I want you to do a presentation of current and relevant tech. Now, keep in mind that when you're dealing with current and relevant tech, I'm wanting you to look at different presentation tools. Let me bring up the content page here this week, right? So remember, all the assignments are underneath that unit assignment, right? I'm afraid my computer is looking forward to the ice storm that we may or may not get, right? I do have a couple of readings, and I gave you a TED Talk to watch this week that should help you with the discussion and putting together this presentation. So really what I want you to do is I want you to go out and I want you to find free presentation tools. And if you're looking on Twitter, I have shared a Twitter feed with you that gives you quite a few different presentation tools. Try not to use PowerPoint. Don't use Google Slides. Those are really, really common, so we want you to use something else. And again, remember, a good portion of this class is you playing with this technology. It's the same kind of a thing that your students are going to go through when you give them something that's tech-based. So it's not just simply you learning how to use this, but it's getting you to understand from the student's perspective and getting you to understand how to use this in your classroom. Okay, so we're going to have you do 4 really quick presentations. Once you get one presentation done, it should go from there. So it says 5 slides or less, but you all know that some presentation tools aren't slides. So take that, as a grain of salt. There's going to be a lot of different ways that you can do this, a lot of different ways that you can modify this, okay? So give me a name your tool, name the name of it, tell me some pros and cons of it, give me a picture of it. If the tool allows animations, add some animations. Tell me how and or where, what kind of platform the tool works on. Is it best for Chrome? Is it best for Firefox? Is it best on a Mac? Is it an iPad? Is it for the phone? And tell me about how easy you think that particular tool is to use. And again, this is a very quick presentation, and there is a Dropbox folder for that as well. And this is the key to this as well. Sometimes it's going to be something that you can upload into that Dropbox, or it might just be a Word doc with a link to that presentation tool, because there are some presentation tools out there that house it on the cloud, and there's just a link that you need to share out to people. So feel free to do any of those things, okay? And again, keep the questions coming. If something isn't clear or relevant, if something isn't really able to be understood, or you're struggling with something, don't struggle too long before you ask a question, because more often than not, if it's not just your question, it's going to be somebody else's, okay? So with Symbaloo, play, have some fun with it. There's a lot of really cool ones out there. There's a lot of really, I should show you this because this is actually kind of funny. So, okay, I'm not a Kardashian fan, right? But if you go to Kardashians, there are web mixes that are already created that deal with nothing but the Kardashians. And what a lot of them do is they will try to create some sort of a picture with the Symbaloo. So on this one right here, if it's back from a distance, it's got a visual element to it as well as an informational element to it. Go look at those. Those are kind of cool to look at. There's an awful lot of different pieces of information out there. You can find them by name. So if you were in a physics class, you can go find a physics Symbaloo that's going to be full of already found research sites on the web for you. So these are for conceptual physics, which I promise you I was never in, and it's just going to give you places that you can already go to. Now imagine how much easier the kids in your classroom can go search for information that's already been collected for them. Yes, they need to understand how to search the web themselves, but once they understand that very basic concept of searching the web for themselves, then they can go out and they can find people who have already done it for them, and that's key to that. So again, I hope I didn't stay too long, and again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Shoot me an email. I would ask, don't send me an email through D2L. Please use my sdstate.edu address. It's on D2L. That gets right to me. Sometimes if I get an email through D2L, I respond to it, and then I find out 24 hours later that it was through D2L and it didn't go where I wanted it to. So that'll just make things a little bit easier for me. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for all your hard work last week. Again, I'm here to help, so don't hesitate to ask any questions anytime. Have a good week.